Hey y'all, Lucas Marsh here with Engineered Wealth Management. Moving on to our next piece of content here in our series about household finances and a deeper look into how we do things and some recommendations from us. Today we're talking about how we split household income and expenses. My opinion, most couples do expenses wrong. And here is what I believe equal actually means. So traditionally, couples would put all their paychecks and income into a single account and manage expenses out of there. There may or may not be an allowance that comes out back into your personal account, or do you spend directly from that account? But everything was managed in the same pot. My take on that is, if I'm responsible, what I do with my money is none of your business. I mean, I love you, honey, but it's none of your business. And if you're thinking about ways that money is split there, so 50-50 sounds fair, but if you have one partner that earns dramatically more than the other, then equal contributions may not mean equal sacrifice. And when incomes differ and you're all putting it in the same pot or all expected to put the same amount towards expenses, that's where jealousy, resentment, and the feelings of unfairness start to creep in. So I'll share what Lynn and I do. We've been doing it for about 10 years now, and I think it's worked. We split expenses proportionally based upon our income. And each person contributes relative to what they earn and not an arbitrary amount or 100%. So we actually both have our income deposited into our personal accounts and then have a joint account where we contribute to once a month. If you remember, we talked about this as an agenda item in our family meeting, and I can put a link back to that content in the description if you're interested in hearing about our monthly family meeting and how I think that's effective. So I'm about to share a spreadsheet here. I guess what else would you expect from an engineered solution? But really, this isn't about distrust. It's about removing emotions from money and money conversations entirely. So this is the spreadsheet we use once a month. I'm going to run through some quick benefits of why I believe 5 reasons for proportionally splitting beats 50-50 or 100% contributions every time. So we have fairness. There's no resentment or guilt of the income gap. Everyone contributes in proportion to what they earn. Transparency. When both people see exactly what's going in and out, there's nothing to argue about. Adaptability. Job loss, promotion, new baby, when incomes shift, the math adjusts automatically. Autonomy. What's left after your contribution is yours. There's no allowances, no asking permission, no having to explain any charges, that charge or this charge to your partner. And scalability works just as well with similar incomes as it does with very different ones. And this last one has occurred to us a number of times over the last 10 years as folks have been in school or changing jobs. And it's really helped kind of smooth out those uneven pieces and take emotion out of the equation. So I'm going to start here at the top. So we have our monthly expenses. And again, this is just kind of a broad look at the expenses here. Mortgage, tax, insurance. Most of these things are fixed expenses, except for credit card. So this one will vary by month, but total up all of our expenses for the month. And then down here, we have our income from each person. So we take the paycheck income, biweekly or how often it is, and then we extrapolate that out to monthly income. Then potentially add back in any pre-tax retirement savings that may be occurring. Whoever pays for health insurance, if you guys pay through health insurance through your job, flexible spending account if you have access to that through your job. And then a health savings account from a high deductible health plan. I will also touch on that on another piece of content. I think that's a sort of a cheat code there to get some extra savings, especially for folks that are over contribution limits for traditional IRAs. A health savings account through a high deductible health plan is an extra way to save for retirement and reduce your taxable income. So here at the bottom, we then come up with actual monthly income. So again, this is paycheck income, and then you add back your pre-tax, you add back your pre-tax deductions to get the total household income, and then that gets your percentage income here. So this is the proportionality we were talking about with your paycheck and income. We come back up here. This is the total income for the household. You have your total expenses here. Then this desired percentage amount is your desired contribution amount from each partner or spouse. So we have ours set at 85%. So 85% of your post-tax paycheck income goes towards the family, and then 15% of that goes towards your personal allowance, or however you want to frame that. Here's our contributions. And then we have our total savings, and that's just the difference between our expenses and contributions. So this is savings. Obviously, you can modify desired contribution percent up or down to increase, decrease your savings. And then lastly, this is the actual contributions that each person's going to make. So if you have a lot of deductions on your paycheck, you got to subtract those out to get the final contribution amount every month. And so that's here in the blue. So contribution less prepaid. Just add some extra stuff here about remaining allowance after your contribution. And then ideally you should be contributing to a Roth every month as well through the back door if you don't have access to one directly. Again, backdoor Roth, another piece of content we'll talk about here. For high earners that may be over the limits for straightforward Roth contributions, but there is a backdoor Roth that everyone should be doing. And then this is your final allowance at the end of the month. I will admit that a lot of these numbers I just typed in for the example. So person one, which is usually me, I do have an allowance higher than $165 a month, but this is just an example. So I know I just shared all this stuff. My honest takeaway is there's no right way to do this. You know, whatever works for your family works best. If you guys put everything into a single account and pay your expenses out of that, if you think that's fair and builds collaboration and camaraderie, if you do 50-50 and y'all's incomes are very similar, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, you know, what works best for you. But I would ask yourselves, you know, does we need to have a conversation every month about expenses, or whenever there's something changes, or really does this contribution stuff run on autopilot regardless of what people's incomes are, especially if you have a differential income every month? And really, I believe this works because you can answer that, yes, it does run on autopilot. Just a quick another teaser. I know I've teased some future pieces of content here, but before splitting expenses, would encourage you to make sure that your household income exceeds your household expenses. But that is a conversation for another video entirely. So I'm going to be sharing this template with you guys. You guys can put your own information in here, take a look, check it out, see if it works for you. Very, very simple, so feel free to manipulate it. There'll be a link to the template in the description below. You know, also to ask you to drop a comment, you know, share how you and your spouse, if you're willing, split expenses and contributions and income every month. And then finally, let me know if you have any content ideas or questions you want me to answer. So until next time, Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to y'all later. Before we wrap up, a quick note. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not personalized investment, tax, or legal advice. Every person's financial situation is different, and you should consult with your own qualified financial, tax, or legal professional before making decisions based upon what we discussed today. Engineered Wealth Management is a fee-only registered investment advisor. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training. If you'd like to learn more about how we work, including our services and fees, you can find our Form ADV and important disclosures on our website. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.